with me. Wait. Hey, hey. Find her. Good, go.
Okay, so we're going to be working our surface transition trail, and I like your location and more importantly, the time of day. Not a lot of activity. We got some good roads, not too much traffic, and lots of green space on the side. So let's see how we do with this track. So far, so good. Good scenting on the article. Obviously, you're an odor and working really, really well. I love your distance here. So the purpose of this trail is not necessarily to see how accurate you are in your road crossings, albeit your map shows that you were exceptionally accurate, but more importantly to show you how your dog works the road crossings on their own without your help. And as we're getting close to the first crossing, you're going to start seeing some behavior changes. I actually think you got a little proximity alert to the crossing right before you went around that corner. But anyway, you can see how right at this point there's a big change. The dog detects it. You're kind of off the track line. She goes back and hits it hard, and she has a very, very good idea that something happened here. But we have this big change of odor on the concrete that's not quite as good as when you were on the grass. Really good job of holding her back there as the traffic is coming. That's exactly what you do. You didn't get panicked over it. You knew you had enough lead to keep her safe, so that was a really good job. I love how you're giving her the time to work really all of this out. And I think that before that car came, you might have had your crossing right there at that point. She was thinking about taking it. The reason why she was is it's what we call the apex of the turn, where the bulk of the odor lays. Now, in this situation, she chose more on top of the track line, although it's a little bit slightly to the left. Not a big deal. This is just the way that the scent picture goes and the way the odor is laying for the dog. Really good job of letting her make the choices without you getting involved. Getting to your next crossing here, it's almost the exact behavior as what we had before. Notice how she stays close to the hedgerow here. This is where a good amount of your odor is sitting, and it's why she likes this spot. Most of the scent picture here is here. As she gets closer to the road, even though you have a good productive source, the scent picture isn't quite as good as it is up here next to all the bushes, and this is why she's really investigating this area. It's hard to leave that strong odor when a weaker exit trail presents itself. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the dog to work this out. You do a really good job of letting her do that. These exercises are crucial for allowing your dog the freedom to make good decisions. The reason why she's circling is to be accurate, and this is where she picks up your step off point right here. This is right where your trailer probably crossed, and she's staying very close to the track line. A big part of this is probably the time of day and a lot of dew on the feet of your person walking. So the scent picture is actually staying on the blacktop as well as the grass, which is helping her quite a bit. Now, this type of behavior is going to change a lot more in the middle of the day as it gets warmer and that sun is beating down on that blacktop. Notice how we get into another turn very similar, but this time she doesn't do as much roaming around the area of the turn because she's learned from the last two basically what's going on. And this is that whole self-discovery thing going on. And it's incredibly powerful for the dog because they learn these problems without your help, without your guidance or your pressure on your lead. And the learning becomes hardwired more in their brain. When we get involved and we help guide or push, then there's really no learning because we're getting involved in the process and they're paying attention to us, not what their nose is telling them to do. Doing a great job of letting her have good free lead and work this on her own. Now you see how she moved back to the right of the track line. Track line is slightly to the left, and it's just because of the way that scent picture's going. You know, she has a really good strong odor when she comes back on the grass, and it's a little overwhelming. Okay, so we're getting to our next turn at this point. And again, she isolates the turn really, really well and comes off of it just a little bit because she was moving too fast. And that forces her to come back to try to pick it up again. She loves to be accurate. She likes to stay closer to the track line, not so much just on the trail. And because she sped up going down the hill, she kind of overshot that scent picture just a little bit and had to come back to it. And you can see where it is right here. So this is kind of one of the things that happens when you have a trail versus the track. The trail is actually pretty thick and wide with odor, where the track line is actually very thin. And you can see it right here. You know, you can see how she's backtracking on it, nailing it hard, and this is how she makes her crossing. But as she gets too close to the road, that scent picture spread out a little bit more. But in this spot, I think what I would have probably done is choked up on the lead and stopped her before she crossed here. Get a little bit closer. We got this car coming. You can't trust that the driver's going to do what you want. It worked out well, but in the future, I think I'd stop her. It's perfectly fine. But stop her in the direction she wants to go, and as soon as the car goes by, tell her to get back to work and let that lead go. So she came off the turn here a little bit, and then bisects it as she goes up the side of the hill. Again, it's the width of the trail odor versus the track odor. In this case, it was easier just to shoot that gap, and that's why she did it. Watch how easy she slices through this turn and this surface transition. And again, it's this learning experience from all the previous turns and surface transitions. There's no hesitation. She shoots straight across. And you notice how she deviates from the track line and goes to the left. This is what we call the apex of the turn. The bulk of your odor is moving with car traffic, and because of the hard surface, it's almost like dusting snow on icy roads, how it just kind of moves and goes with the flow of the wind. Exact same thing with scent. And what this does is it causes the dogs to sometimes not track right along the track line, and it's crucial that you allow them to do this. To correct them back to the track line doesn't help them because you're not actually allowing them to stay in odor. By doing what you did, by allowing her to work this freely the way she wanted to, she solved this problem all on her own without your help and stayed in odor the entire time. So here you have the track line, which she establishes, but she still continues down the trail odor, which goes in towards the shade and these bushes over here. This is the bulk of your odor, and it's why she goes that way. The track line is a little bit thinner, not quite as strong for her. Most of your scent is down here, but there's no direction to it, which forces her to go back to that crossing. But because of everything that you did, it's a very, very fast process, and she makes it quickly. Okay, so nice start to the crossing, but she uses the apex of the turn and the bulk of the odor that's blown with the traffic, maybe a little bit of wind, and she comes off the track line and then bisects it up here on the side of the hill. And again, we have the exact same effect. Bulk of the odor seems to be going this particular direction. She deviates to the left a little bit, no big deal, because that's where the bulk of your odor is, and she knows exactly where to go. And the beauty of the process and everything that's occurring here with these multiple transitions, turns, and road crossings is she's learning through experience how to handle each one. And the learning is powerful because you're not involved. It's a super, super nice trail. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Big changes from the last surface change training that we did. You're a completely different handler overnight, and I really appreciate that effort. I'm going to go ahead and send you homework for the next exercise here shortly, and I'll send that in another email. Great job. Excellent work.